WWE dealt with all of the fallout from WrestleMania 37 last week. So this week's show was all about building up WrestleMania Backlash on May 16. Why they added WrestleMania to the Backlash name is still a mystery. After attacking Asuka and Rhea Ripley last week following her return to the Red Brand, Charlotte Flair found herself in a one-on-one bout with the Empress. Drew McIntyre earned a WWE title rematch last week, but MVP orchestrated an attack by T-Bar and Mace to soften him up. This week, the Scottish Warrior was looking for answers. Let's take a look at everything that happened on this week's edition of Monday Night Raw, right here on the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today, Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by the Phenom Michael Bullock, the Twisted Angel, Didi Woodson. It's not often we say this, but we are awaiting perhaps the presence of good old MF Michael Fletcher. We don't know what's going on. If he comes in, we will catch him up on what he missed. If not, then hopefully we'll have him back with us Wednesday night on Wednesday Night Mayhem. I do hope everything is okay over on MF's end. But nonetheless, Monday Night Raw, of course, once again from the brand new Thunderdome at the USF Sundome in Tampa, Florida, on the USA Network with Adnan Burke, Corey Graves, and Byron Saxton. And we start off the show, well, like we always do, 99% of the time, with an in-ring segment. And it was Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre came out and, Drew McIntyre, talked about his win last week, and then he gets interrupted by MVP, and then Mason T-Bar attack Drew McIntyre. So I'll just keep it short and sweet and say that it was a solid follow-up to last week's show closing angle. So I'm sure these guys will agree with me on that. So with that being said, let's and it would lead later on tonight. It would lead into a 2-on-1 handicap match that Drew McIntyre himself wanted. He wanted Adam Pearce to make it happen. He did. So it was Drew McIntyre against Mason T-Bar. We'll get into that later. The one thing Monday Night Raw has always been notorious for over the last few years, and of course nowadays, repetitiveness. And we got it once again here this evening. Tag team matchup. We just saw this a week ago. It was the Viking Raiders against Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Viking Raiders win the match 5 minutes and 15 seconds. While it's great to see Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin being portrayed as competent wrestlers, it makes no sense why they controlled so much of the action. Eric and Ivar just returned last week. If WWE wants to rebuild them, they should be destroying tag teams with little to no effort. They don't have to squash every team they face. They just need to look like the powerhouses they are. The match was decent, but ended up being on the short side. Eric and Ivar only got in a little bit of offense toward the end. The match they had last week had a similar issue, but it wasn't as glaring because they had more time. Give this about a solid 2 to 2.25 stars. So we're going to bypass that as well because, But then Charlotte Flair comes out. Charlotte Flair, cuts another scathing heel promo. Gets interrupted by Asuka. And just as Asuka was ready to say her words, the Raw Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley, comes out. And they had a verbal exchange, and what happened here, Asuka says, "I will beat you, biatch." And whoa, okay, that definitely was not PG. I mean, Bullock and I definitely had a lot of fun with that during our Raw chat this evening when she dropped the B word, but it is what it is. So more of the same there. But now let's get into something that we've never seen before. I'm almost certain this is the first time these two men have ever met. Randy Orton, one-on-one with Riddle, and Riddle wins the match in 13 and a half minutes. There is no question about this. This was without a doubt the fight of the night. Orton single-handedly made the backstage segments with Riddle funny. His reaction to the scooter and pretending to not know who Riddle was when he requested the match were legitimately hilarious. The match they had ended up being highly entertaining. The Viper controlled most of the action, but when Riddle had the upper hand, he made the most of it. The Viper has reached the point in his career where he can do more good getting other people over. He might be the one person who can make a feud with Riddle entertaining for everyone, even the people who dislike the bro. They had good chemistry both in the ring and as opposite personalities backstage. If this feud continues, it should only get better from here. Solid 3.5 stars, maybe even 3 3/4. To me, this was the fight of the night, no doubt about that. So with that being said, Phenom, Michael Bullock, finally, you can come on in. We finally have some relevant stuff here. Riddle beats Randy Orton, and when Riddle wins, you know what that means. Hit me with it.
Bro.
Doesn't that sound like the real thing?
It does. Yeah. Yeah, this was definitely the fight of the night here. I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. I mean, this was definitely the biggest win for Riddle. I mean, when we first heard when this match was made, I mean, we were all thinking that Orton was gonna bury Riddle because of some things Riddle has done, but no, I mean they actually put him over, and I know if Fletch was here right now, he would he lose his mind. He basically said, no, there's no way he won this match. He probably cheated to win. Well, that's him channeling his inner Jesse Ventura there. So yeah, but all in all, this was definitely a big win here, and so now, I mean, we don't know what's next for these two now, so there's really nothing more for me to add to it. So, Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, it was definitely a fight of the night. 3.5 stars. Very well done. These guys worked great off of each other. Yeah, Orton has that star power now where he can get the younger guys over, and he did a great job with getting Riddle over in this one. And I just I thought it was a very well done match. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, back to reality here. Cutout here. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler went up against Naomi and Lana. We've seen this before. Naomi and Lana, they win the match 4 minutes and 25 seconds. Obviously, it was because of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Unfortunately, this is going to have to be a dud here. The first minute of this match was actually some solid tag team wrestling, but it went downhill from there due to the distraction by Rose and Brooke. Shenanigans are fine, but they have to make sense. Nia Jax is the champion. She should not be suckered into doing something that's stupid so easily. Also, what did Rose and Brooke gain by helping another team get a win? If anything, this would allow Naomi and Lana to request a title bout before them. The women's tag team division is booked with almost no effort behind it, which is a damn shame because there are some talented superstars who are not being used to their full potential. So, on behalf of the panel, this, without a doubt, this was a dud. And definitely one of the worst fights of the night, if not the worst fight of the night. So we're not going to waste any more time on that. Then we had a Miz TV segment, Miz and Maurice, obviously putting over Miz and Mrs. And of course, Miz has a WWE 24 documentary coming out this Sunday night. And then he was interrupted by Damian Priest and Maurice, on behalf of her husband, makes the match with the Miz and Damian Priest. So we'll address that in a moment. One-on-one match here. Kofi Kingston against Elias. And Elias wins the match 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Bullock, I know this would normally be somewhat of a cutout here, but during our Raw chat tonight, we actually said this was a halfway decent fight. So, I believe we agreed we were going to get into this. So, fun little sprint here between these two.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I mean, it was a fun little sprint here. I mean, yeah, the match was short, but in the amount of time we got for it, I mean, I thought the action was good. So I know I'm going to surprise some people, but I'm going to say 2.5 stars. I mean, this was a fun little sprint, and yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, this was fairly good. Good match for the guys. It's one of the better ones for Elias. Definitely solid for Kofi. They pulled out a very good performance that you haven't really seen out of Elias in quite some time now. So yeah, this was it wasn't that bad. So yeah, I could give it 2.5 to teetering towards 3. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Florio.
This would be about 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. I mean, most of the short match was decent, but it did start to fall apart toward the end. The SOS botch and a few other moments stood out as sloppy. Halfway decent match. I mean, it was definitely a fun little sprint, like Bullock and I said. It looks like Jackson Riker and Elias will continue to feud with the New Day for the time being. What's really strange is WWE seems to have 2 non-title feuds going in the Raw Tag Team division, while Omos and AJ Styles have been unused 2 weeks in a row since winning the Raw Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania. Makes absolutely no sense. No sense whatsoever. Then we had Alexa's Playground with that evil Lily doll. Yeah, no comment. I mean, the only comment I have is that Michael Bullock is not a fan of Alexa's eyes. That's all there is to say on that. It kind of reminds him of Michael Jackson.
It just freaks me out with the way her eyes are. I mean, I almost feel like I'm gonna have nightmares just from seeing that. And there's an old saying, evil's not supposed to look that beautiful.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my sayings. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
And with her eyes, I mean, it looks a lot like the end of the Michael Jackson Thriller video. So,
but the thing is, I think Michael Jackson's was entertaining. This here, though,
yep. And there's Dee Dee Woodson with her with the wristbands there. So,
and to think, and let's not forget let's remind our viewers. Once Dee Dee Woodson was not a fan of Alexa Bliss, and to see this, I'm guessing. I mean, she's now a big fan of this new version of Alexa Bliss.
Hey, I got that T-shirt for a birthday present.
Oh well, this past birthday.
Yeah, this is last birthday.
The gloves too.
Actually, Gabby bought me the gloves a couple of months ago, but the T-shirt a friend of mine got me for my birthday. It just came in a little late, so I had it for tonight.
Well, Dee Dee, tell the viewers what changed. I mean, because remember, you were a fan of Alexa Bliss. So what changed?
Especially when we used to call her the Goddess.
Yeah, I definitely didn't like the Goddess bit. This one, it seems like she's got a lot better acting in this, and I mean, the storyline is definitely catching. I mean, for a long time I wasn't a big fan of Bray Wyatt either because of his gimmick, but this Fiend thing and the storyline they got around this, for some reason it's getting really catchy. Because last year when they had that Funhouse match, I couldn't understand any of it, and I still am baffled with the Funhouse match. I still don't quite understand that, but I guess it's the fact that there's such a big theory on now this Lilith doll and how, Alexa has gotten into what she is now. I've heard so many people talking about it and doing the theories on it, and from even saying that Lilith is or Lily is Lilith from if you've watched Supernatural, you've seen Lilith there, one of those demons. But then they've also said Lilith could be maybe another spirit that used to be inside Abigail. And then I've seen them tie stuff Matt Hardy said before we got the Fiend, where he's talking about Samael and tying that to the Fiend, saying that could be the Fiend's true name. I mean, I've heard all these theories, and it's just, I guess that's what I like about it, is just the fact that you're drawn in by all this, and it's just trying to put the pieces together, because I love doing puzzles. So I'm trying to put the pieces together to figure out exactly what's going on. So the storyline has just been really intriguing to me. And I just like the acting that she's doing now with this compared to what she was doing as the goddess. I mean, because as the goddess, I mean, she was just a bully. She's just somebody that nobody liked. And now she's developed this very intriguing character that you just want to find out what's going to happen next. So,
or what's going on through her mind.
Yeah, you got to figure out how all this is tied together, and how today she went into the story of the Lily doll, where last week she went into the lost girl story. So it's intriguing and so far I still haven't got all these pieces put together for Alexa's story yet, where you can start to put the pieces in on Bray's from if you go all the way back to before he started the Fiend thing and start taking little bits of that and just listening to some of the stories that he's now doing with the Fiend, and you can start putting it together that this Fiend's character's been there for a long time inside of him, and now he's letting it out. So it's very interesting story to follow. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm intrigued, and I'm wanting to figure this puzzle out. So.
And let's not forget another thing, and this is in tribute to the late great Roddy Piper, who would have turned 67 today. Just when you think you have all the answers, she changes the question.
Exactly.
And those words were what got him on the map. So, yeah, and his biography on A&E comes out this Sunday night. So definitely a must watch for any wrestling fan. I know all of us will be tuning in without question. Got off to a great start last night with Stone Cold. I'll say that for sure. So, but anyways, getting back into this, let's see, where were we? That kind of threw me off a little bit, but that's all right. All right. The 2-on-1 handicap match. Drew McIntyre, he went up against Mason T-Bar. It ends in a disqualification at 6 minutes. Mason T-Bar got a little over aggressive. They did not break before the referee's 5 counts, so the match got thrown out. But then, in the immortal words of Teddy Long, the match was restarted as a tag team match, playa. Yeah, it sure was. It was Mason T-Bar going up against Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman. Holla. So that's what it was. So then we had it. McIntyre and Strowman went up against Mason T-Bar. And Mason T-Bar, they win the match via disqualification in an even 7 minutes. And you notice that the mask came off. The Mason T-Bar were unmasked, and to the surprise of none of us, so we actually knew who these guys were. But for anybody who may not have known, Mace turns out to be former Monday Night Raw announcer Dio Madden. You remember when he worked with Vic Joseph and Jerry the King Lawler a couple years ago. And T-Bar ended up being Dominic Dijakovic, Bullock's old friend from NXT. So, well, we'll sum it up like this. Let me just ask, do you guys want to get into this? Or do you want to move on? It's fine with me. I just want to be 100% sure. So I take it they want to move on. All right. Not a problem there. I'll take it for a spin. The opening segment of the show was a good exchange between MVP and McIntyre, but the match that it spawned was mediocre at best. The best part of this was seeing T-Bar and Mace look like an actual threat to McIntyre. They are both bigger than he is, so it would have been ridiculous if he dominated them like he would most other opponents. Why is Strowman helping McIntyre? They were just in a match last week as opponents. They have never shown any signs of being friends, so this felt extremely random. Ending both matches in disqualifications was a bad choice, but it will be more acceptable if Mace and T-Bar keep the masks off and go back to their old names. So we'll just keep it at that. Then we had Damian Priest squaring off against The Miz. Damian Priest wins the match, 5 minutes and 5 seconds. All right. Again, do we want to move on from this? I'm guessing you guys are going to ask to move on from this. All right. So fair enough. About 2.5 stars. I mean, on one of the weaker shows in recent memory, this ended up being one of the strongest segments of the night. That says a lot about the state of Raw right now. The match was fine for what it was. Priest picked up the clean win, even with Maurice there to provide some distractions. John Morrison's absence went unexplained. Priest needs to move on from this quickly. He should be chasing the U.S. title, not keeping up his feud from WrestleMania. So we're just gonna, we're gonna put that aside. And then Sheamus comes out. He issues an open challenge. It looks like Humberto Carrillo was going to answer it, but then Sheamus went on to beat the hell out of him. So, yeah, that was a burial. No doubt about that. And then the main event of the evening, heavily promoted. Well, as far as what happened earlier with the Sheamus stuff, I mean, that was a good segment that put some heat on Sheamus. I would really like to see Carrillo come back for revenge at some point and actually have a program with Sheamus. But seeing is believing. Carrillo has been stuck in scrub mode for a long time now, so that may have been a one and done for him. Now we go to the main event. Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. And Asuka wins the match, 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Michael Bullock, do you lead off on this, or does it go to Didi?
I think he goes to Didi.
Yeah, I thought so, and only fitting because she is the women's expert here. So Didi, Asuka beats Charlotte 9 minutes and 15 seconds with help from Rhea Ripley. But the most notable thing was after the match, Charlotte Flair attacked and went all out and damn near assaulted referee Eddie Orengo. Whoa.
Yeah, she had to let her anger out somewhere, I guess. So she chose to go for the ref. So be expecting to hear something coming down from management on a punishment for Charlotte. But yeah, as far as Rhea getting involved, it's fitting because of what happened last week. Basically. She's returning the favor that Charlotte did last week when Charlotte interrupted their match. It's just she did it in a way this time where the ref didn't see it, and Asuka was able to pick up the 1, 2, 3, and the match was great. I mean, they were doing a great job, and. Like I said, I can understand the interference on this one. I'm going to give it probably about 2.5 to 3 stars. It was a very well done match, and it just shows you that you know, that there is something going on there in Charlotte that, since she's been back, she's been a totally different person, and so she pretty much proved it tonight by just, beating the crap out of that one ref. So yeah, not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, second best fight of the night, clearly. Solid 3-star match. Like her father, Charlotte Flair was born to be a heel. She is so much better at it than she is at being a babyface, and she is much more valuable as an obstacle for another face to overcome because the Queen will never be an underdog. These two have great chemistry as opponents, but there were a few moments when it looked like they were trying to rush, leading to a couple of minor mistakes. But for the most part, they looked good. Seeing Rhea Ripley circle the ring like a shark eyeing her prey gave this bout an extra level of unpredictability. You can never tell if she is going to attack or just keep watching these two beat each other up. On any other night, the way this match ended would have been fine, but this week featured too many disqualifications and instances of interference. This was another week's show with only a few highlights, worth taking the time to watch if you did not tune in live or if you're pressed for time. So, solid 3 stars for the effort. Second best fight of the night, clearly. But Michael Bullock, as we were ending our Raw chat, we couldn't believe it. Not because of what happened in the match, but like I said, what did Charlotte Flair do? Charlotte Flair damn near assaulted referee Eddie Orango. And Michael Bullock and we couldn't believe it. So, Bullock, what do you make of what Charlotte Flair did to referee Eddie Orango? Unreal.
Well, first off, Florio, before we get to that, I just got some breaking news, and on that subject, Florio, guess what?
What's up?
Charlotte Flair has been fined $100,000 and suspended indefinitely for attacking an official on Raw.
There you go. There you go, Dee. Justice.
Yes.
You muted your mic there. There you go.
Yeah, so there you go, Dee Woodson. You wanted it, you got it.
Yeah, she was expecting it, but we weren't expecting it so soon. We thought it was going to be next week on Raw, but wow, right, just like that.
Yeah, just like that, they laid down the hammer on the Queen, and
this goes to show you that nobody is above the law.
Yeah, Charlotte Flair thought she was above the law. Well, tonight, Charlotte, you're not above the law. There's an old saying: you put your hands on a ref, you're gonna pay for it, and you just did. So, 2.5 to 3. I agree with the rating for this. This was the second best fight of the night, and yeah, Florio, you and we were shocked when we saw what happened. So, when she basically was beating the crap out of Eddie Orango. And Florio, you and we were just talking about this before. Imagine how you and I would feel if Mr. Danilo Fabio was the one getting attacked in Charlotte. We would
have been losing our damn minds.
Yeah, and we would have been the ones to say, WWE, you better address this. But yeah, 2.5 to 3. But once again, folks, the big story that I just told you moments ago: the Queen has been fined $100,000 and suspended indefinitely. Florio, it is yours.
She damn sure deserved it. That's all there is to say on that. So, all right. So, let's get into our overall thoughts. But even though it was another meh show, it was a little better than last week, but so much damage has been done to so many of these characters that there's just no simple way to climb out of their creative hole. They just need to buckle down and produce quality shows week in and week out rather than search for quick fixes. It's easier said than done. Their lack of consistency has me skeptical that it will happen, but I hope they get it right eventually. I mean, this was probably a middle of the road show. I mean, I would probably give this about a 5 out of 10 if I'm being honest with you, because we had 3 good matches, and then we had a couple of good storyline advancements, especially with Mason T-Bar getting unmasked. But it is what it is, and that's really all there is to say on that. So I'm going to give it about a 5 out of 10 for the effort. Middle of the road show. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, quick thoughts on what ended up being yet another meh edition of Raw this evening?
Yeah. Well, what did you give it, Florio?
I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, 5 out of 10. I think is definitely the correct rating for me. It was another meh show, but not as bad as last week. I'll say it right there. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. I'm just gonna give it to Dee Woodson, and once again, Dee, you asked for it, you got it. The queen,
Oh yeah,
gone.
as she should be for a while. She needs to. They need to send her back to anger management classes or something. They need to do something because she just, totally lost it there. And yeah, you do something like that to the ref, yeah, you're going to get heavily fined. You're going to get suspended. They're lucky. She's very lucky they didn't go as far as to even, firing her. I think the only reason they didn't was because of her last name, because she's so tied to Ric Flair. But it is what it is.
And there's another place that she needs to go as well.
The Woodshed.
Yep.
Oh
yep,
yeah.
You knew I was going there with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll drag her out there. I'll take her by her nice little long blonde locks and we'll hash it out. But yeah, this was definitely it was definitely mediocre, but at the same time it had a little bit more of a storyline build going into this one than it did last week. They managed to build off of several of the matches. Some of the matches, of course, didn't make sense. The Riddle Orton kind of came out of left field. No build up for that other than the little backstage vignette. But the rest, most of the rest of them, McIntyre's thing here, that's building off of stuff that's happened even before WrestleMania. So I mean, this is definitely taking a turn in the right direction as far as storyline building, as far as how the matches are being produced, the length of the matches and stuff like that. That still needs a lot of work in Raw's department. And some of the in-ring promos definitely need work. We don't need to see Miz and Maurice every week promoting their TV show, their reality show, or we don't need Miz out here every week talking about his documentary or the music video or rehashing how he supposedly boosted Bad Bunny's career. We don't need that crap. That's the kind of stuff that it's in the past now. Bad Bunny's not even part of Raw now. Let's move on. Let's get Damian Priest going in the right direction by maybe going after Sheamus. Let's let Miz move on into another direction. And you guys brought up a good point earlier. Where is our tag team champions? Where is AJ Styles and Omos? Why are they not being showcased now that they have the titles and that they've had the titles for 2 weeks? Nothing.
Good question.
Nothing.
Good question. That's what I want to know. So we all want to know.
And since Rhea's won the title, she's only had one match.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get your priorities straight, Raw. It's the show, like I said, storyline wise, it's getting better, but you need to start building these storylines around your champions. If you want them to defend on Raw, then put them on Raw to defend it. Don't do like you did with Sheamus tonight. Have him have an open challenge, and then before the match even starts, beat the crap out of his opponent. That's not giving us anything other than showing that Sheamus is an asshole. Excuse my language. But that's pretty much what it is. I mean, come on. Give us something that we can gnaw on, something that we can, work with and actually enjoy and be able to build up into the next pay-per-view, your backlash that you've got coming up. Give us the meat to help us build into that. Don't just give us a little segment here and then a bunch of little pieces here that make no sense or has no business being in there just to give us another little hunk over here. Get some stuff going on with your tag teams. Get your tag teams together. Have a turmoil if you need to. Do something to get that division going in the right direction. Do same thing with the women. Do the same thing with with each title. You're going to have to start SmackDown or Raw and SmackDown to build that up. I mean, that's one thing NXT does have. They're building up for their titles. Where is the main roster doing that? So yeah, that's my little gripe, but definitely 5 out of 10, and at least positive in the storyline department. Sucky on pretty much everything else. So, good night, guys.
All right, good night, Dee Dee, and it's very rare dropping a bomb there. No, that's definitely not PG, no doubt about that. But I completely understand where you're coming from, no doubt about it. So,
and I apologize for it.
Yeah, no problem. It happens, that adrenaline kicks in, and that's it. So, there you go. But let's get into a quick Tony's take here. This past Friday, I already ran down Impact Wrestling, so we're going to run down 205 Live quick. Jake Atlas against Ashante the Adonis. Jake Atlas wins in 8 minutes and 42 seconds. 3-star match. It was a fun match. I enjoyed the striking offense from Adonis and the story of Atlas constantly looking for the cartwheel DDT and Adonis having it scouted. Fun stuff, rather. And another good showing from both men. August Gray against Tony Nese. August Gray, 11 minutes and 7 seconds. Another 3-star match. Good, though it did seem to drag a bit. The callback to Gray not wanting to win by countout was nice. But we are back to roll-up finishes within the division again. Good stuff overall is expected with those two. 7.5 out of 10. 2 good matches makes for a good show worth checking out. At some point, they will need to pull the trigger and get someone from this show on NXT or involved in the Cruiserweight title picture. I don't have a full preview of the Rebellion pay-per-view, but the Impact Wrestling Rebellion pay-per-view that's going down this Sunday night. But what I can do is I can run down what the card will be from bottom to top. Fire and Flavor. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz will defend the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship against Jordynne Grace and a mystery partner. We'll see what happens with that. 8-man tag team matchup. All 4 members of Violent by Design, Eric Young, Rhino, Joe Doring, and Diener against James Storm, Willie Mack, Eddie Edwards, and Chris Sabin. Sami Callihan versus Trey Miguel in a last man standing match. That's got potential. Look at this. Battle of former WWE guys here. The former Zack Ryder against the former Kurt Hawkins. Matt Cardona against Brian Myers. We're going to get that. 3-way match for the X Division Championship. Ace Austin to defend the title against Josh Alexander and TJP. That's got show stealer potential right there. Knockouts Championship on the line. Deonna Purrazzo will defend against Tennille Dashwood. Impact World Tag Team Championship match. The champions, Finn Juice Robinson, David Finlay from New Japan Pro Wrestling. They will defend against the former champions, the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. And in the main event, perhaps the most anticipated main event in Impact Wrestling history, unified Impact World Champion Rick Swann will battle AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, and the AEW and Impact World Heavyweight Championships both will be on the line, title for title, winner takes all. And the big coup for Impact here, Mauro Ranallo will be calling this match on commentary. And we all know what he's capable of, and I cannot wait for that. So that all goes down this Sunday night from the Skyway Studios in Nashville, Tennessee, on traditional pay-per-view. Others you can find it also on Fight TV and or wherever you can find it. So there you have it. So I apologize for not having a formal preview. Hopefully I'll have one soon enough, but if not, then I'll have a full recap next week. So that's it. So until that'll do it for this. Well, we want to thank you all so very much for tuning in this evening. We will be back with you Wednesday night. Hopefully back on MF's channel, BraceFan 95, for another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem. We will run down NXT and AEW Dynamite. And then from there, we will have, that'll be on Wednesday, and then Thursday, Strictly Sports. We don't have much on the docket right now. The only thing we do have is our lead story, Alex Smith announcing his retirement from the NFL today. If anything else comes in, we'll be sure to add it, no doubt about it. Friday night, of course, the Cerebral Smack Talk. Hopefully we'll have MF for that as well. Friday night SmackDown. And I know MF wanted to get into a big story from Major League Wrestling Fusion. We'll see what that big story is in his Mikey's Mindset on Friday night. And then right back here again next week for Ridiculously Raw, another rundown of Monday Night Raw. And I will have a full recap of the Impact Wrestling Rebellion pay-per-view next week. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, it's Anthony Florio signing off on behalf of the panel, the Phenom, Michael Bullock, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Woodson, and, of course, special in spirit, good old MF, Michael Fletcher. I have no idea what's going on with him. I don't know if he's still under the weather or if it's because of work commitments beyond his control, but I am hopeful that we'll have MF back with us on Wednesday night. MF, you are missed. These shows are not the same without you. And praying for you, buddy. And hopefully you'll be back with us on Wednesday night doing what you do best. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, FKG 401, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And don't forget, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.